All right. All right, let's see. It's going. Oh, let's get on Twitter rule. Uh, oh boy. Oh, there we go. All right, let's see. Uh, ah, it's that. Link. All right, there we go. I've shown Twitter that we're live. All right, guys. If anybody wants to join us, we can. Hey, guys, did you miss me? Well, looks like right now this is all I'm good for. So, hey, you know what? I'm going to embrace it. No, actually, what happened was I got to call Cody up at KNS Electric, and he decided to give me a chance. And it actually went for a while there. It actually went rather well. I helped out as much as I could. Um, Me being the greenhorn on the job, I wasn't exactly sure just what to do, so I just basically took orders and did the best I could. Bad part came when we were digging a trench, not a big one, but a small one. And oh man, it had rained so much and it was so humid. The mud was like glue in this one person's backyard. It was, I overexerted myself and I ended up burning myself out. And because of that, Cody basically had told me, the guys talked about it and said, I'm sorry, dude, but we're gonna have to say no right now. And that was a big wake up call, guys. That was a big wake up call. Um, that was a big wake up call, and I basically vowed from that point on that okay, enough of that. I'm going to spend the next few months getting back into shape, and I have been. And Dad's been getting into shape with me, so we've been eating healthier, we've been eating lighter, and we've been exercising. And oh man, my dad's already down to 299 something, and I was like 364.7. Last time I checked, I was down to originally down to just a little over 347. So I've actually lost quite a bit already. So all I just need to do is just keep going. But the nice thing is, if anything, my dad was going, hey, you know what? Just concentrate on getting into better shape for this next internship you might be available for. Because the lady that I talked to, she already said that if I'm interested, they'll get me situated and see how I like them. But even if that doesn't go through, you know, I even asked Cody that if he can see a big change in me, especially around a certain time of the year, would he be willing to take me back? And he basically said, hey, if you're going to take that time to better yourself and get into better shape, eat healthier, have a healthier lifestyle, heck yeah. If you're willing to do that, now I don't see why we wouldn't take you back. So that's good news right there. So, you know, and all is not lost. And you know, even if those don't go through, I've got a few others in mind. So anyway, before we go any further, what is going on, guys? Right now, we're going to have Monster Monday. This is happy summer, because basically it is summer. We're in May. Or at least the late part of spring and almost in summer. But thought I'd do a little something different today to celebrate my return back to YouTube broadcasting. So we're going to be reacting to several videos here. And if you want to join the chat, go ahead. Go ahead and leave a message. I'm not going to be able to see it right at the moment. But I will give you a shout out once I pause the video and look, because I will look through chat. I will. It may take me a little bit, but I will. But anyway, let's get going. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to watch a little short from the man himself, Mr. Ballin. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to react to some old friends, and we're going to look at some new stuff too. Now, some of it may be legit, some of it may be bogus. I don't know. I'm not an expert like some video experts are on here, but I can usually tell if something might be fake or if something might be real. So, without further ado, let's get started. And like I said, we're going to start off watching a little short from Mr. Ballin. You guys ready? Oh yeah, as always. Once I'm done, the links to the videos that you want to look at will be, if you want to look at them and react to them yourself, will be in the description box below. So without further ado, away we go. Take it away, Mr. Ballin.
There are many totally terrifying stories that have come from Native American folklore, but none are quite as unsettling as the story of the Wendigo. According to the Ojibwe people, the Wendigo is this huge 12-foot tall, slightly emaciated, gray-looking humanoid creature that's constantly roaming the earth searching for food because it's always hungry. And what does it eat? People. The Wendigo, and what happened when someone apparently came face to face with one, will be featured on the very first episode of our brand new incredible podcast from Ballin Studios called Run Fool. Run Fool comes directly from the mind of the horror storytelling icon Rodney Barnes.
Ooh.
To hear the story of the Wendigo, go run to wherever you get your podcasts, look up Run Fool, and make sure you karate chop that follow button. Episodes 1 and 2 of Run Fool will drop on Tuesday, November 14th, and remember, every week, Rodney will drop a brand new scary story. There are many totally terrifying stories.
Thank you, Mr. Ballin. I thought I had the loop off. Sorry about that. But I tell you what, we'll play it again just in case. That have come from Native American folklore,
but none are quite as unsettling as the story of the Wendigo. According to the Ojibwe people, the Wendigo is this huge 12-foot tall, slightly emaciated, gray-looking humanoid creature that's constantly roaming the earth searching for food because it's always hungry. And what does it eat? People. The Wendigo and what happened when someone apparently came face to face with one will be featured on the very first episode of our brand new incredible podcast from Bowen Studios called Run Fool. Run Fool comes directly from the mind of the horror storytelling icon Rodney Barnes. To hear the story of the Wendigo, go run to wherever you get your podcasts, look up Run Fool, and make sure you karate chop that follow button. Episodes 1 and 2 of Run Fool will drop on Tuesday, November 14th, and remember, every week, Rodney will drop a brand new scary story. There are many...
I said no. Okay. I guess I need to do that before to turn off loop before it ends. Oh well. Anyway. Alright, be sure if you want to be a part of that, because I suggest you do. Mr. Ballin and his crew are pretty interesting storytellers. I like Mr. Ballin. Ever since I saw him on Art of Kicks, reacted to him. So, yeah, definitely give this guy, definitely give this guy a listen. He's a great storyteller, and and the stories that he tells are based on actual events. So, all right. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to react to some new stuff. We're going to react to some new stuff. We're going to go to Maximum Fear. This is the first time I have. This is the first time I have actually seen this guy. I've never reacted to any of his videos before, so let's see. This is the most disturbing creatures caught on trail cam 2024. You guys ready? I know I am. Without further ado, away we go.
Hello everyone, I'm back, and today I'm here to maximize your fear. So far, 2024 has been a year filled with many strange things caught on trail cams. From weird unidentified creatures to killers and to many other unexplainable phenomena. So today I decided to highlight some of the most chilling and downright horrifying creatures caught on trail cameras this year. So grab your Maximum Fear coffee mugs and allow your fear to be maximized as we recap the scariest trail camera clips of 2024. A group of locals were going for a late-night hike in a supposedly unexplored forest. Because the forest is unexplored, it's unknown what kind of creatures live inside. But this night they would find out. As they found themselves deeper and deeper within this forest, they eventually located an unidentified creature hiding within the brush.
1099 here.
The strange beast is covered in dark black hair and its eyes are aglow. It doesn't make a noise, it just continues to move around strangely, most likely frightened by the presence of humans. It seems to be a bipedal creature, but it's crouched down on all fours the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole encounter seems very real, from the locals' terrified reactions to the creature's extremely realistic look.
Yeah, it does look real.
Online users and cryptid enthusiasts began to brainstorm ideas as to what the creature could be. Theories range from Bigfoots and dogmen to escaped primates and mutated animals. But taking a close look, the creature doesn't really resemble a monkey, as they don't have this much hair on their face. So this leaves us with the other theories, the unknown cryptid creature ones. Which one do you believe? This convincing and...
That looks more like one of the dogmen. Do you know what the dogman is? Oh boy.
clear Bigfoot footage comes from a trail camera set up in the Canadian woods.
Ooh, okay.
Like most trail cameras, this one in particular was set up to monitor animals and to capture wildlife. But this was not the animal anyone was expecting.
Whoa, look at that. Whoa, look at that. That's a big boy.
The trail camera's motion and heat sensors were set off by this massive, unknown creature. It completely towers over the vegetation below.
Yeah.
Experts are estimating it to be around 9 feet tall. Some even say 10 foot tall plus, which shows us it can't be a human in a ghillie suit.
No.
Zooming in, the shoulders on this beast are extremely huge and defined. Imagine the strength this thing has.
Well, yeah, that's a Bigfoot. That's a male Bigfoot. Yeah, you're talking about a species that can grab a hold of a full-grown tree and uproot it and throw it at someone. You're talking about a beast who can pick up boulders and throw them at someone. Now, this is not an animal you want to be messing with. They are great apes. Like the Bigfoot research team on Finding Bigfoot said that it's most likely that these creatures came from the line of Gigantopithecus. If you don't know what Gigantopithecus is, do your research. Look it up yourself. But it is a very well-known held belief and theory that the race of Sasquatch came from that giant ape. So yeah, I mean, on a lot of times, I probably would have said, no way, this is real. But there has been too much evidence to prove that these animals are in fact real. There's been way too much evidence. Way too much evidence. So yeah, I want to say, yeah, I have to agree with Bigfoot research team. These animals are in fact real. There's too much evidence to say otherwise.
Because of its defined muscle structure, its height, and just the overall realistic look of it, people are convinced it's a real Bigfoot sighting.
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot is one of the most infamous cryptid creatures in all of North America and Canada, and sightings and encounters are reported quite often. But not sightings like this one here with very clear up-close footage. A sighting that's convincing many to believe.
Right. Yeah. Now, Bigfoot's one of the most well-known cryptids. Because so many people have seen them. The Native Americans even talk about them. So the Native Americans even have stories about them. So, when the Native Americans even have stories about them, and people of this time and age are still seeing them, like what they say, not like every legend, there's a bit of truth to them. So come on, yeah, I mean.
This video comes from a man named Grizzly Gaz on YouTube. He lives in northern England. He commonly films camping videos and provides history lessons on the locations he's staying at. In this video, he was staying in a stretch of woods that was haunted by the so-called Lady in White. The story of the Lady in White, according to him, is that she hung herself centuries ago on her farm. And now she haunts and roams the land that was previously her farm. Despite this unsettling story, he still decides to camp there. He pitches his tent and his demeanor seems rather calm the whole night. That is, until it got later and he begins to hear the faint sounds of a woman crying.
Whoa.
Hello?
You can tell he's unnerved as he looks around quickly with his flashlight. These disturbing crying sounds go on sporadically for a while. Something just doesn't seem right about the noises. They sound disembodied, like something almost human but not quite.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Ooh, shoot the camera. So it wasn't him.
They definitely sound otherworldly. The man eventually gets out of his hammock and searches around for the sources of the cries, but strangely, he never finds anyone or anything at all. This is when he decided to pack up and leave the site, fearing for he and his dog's safety. But as he's making his way out, he hears a different noise than before. This time, ghostly whistles echo through the night, chilling him to the bone. Even though viewers who have watched this video strongly believe something paranormal was at work here, perhaps even the lady in white herself, Gaz remains neutral on the encounter. He tries to think rationally about it, stating that he doesn't know if it was supernatural or not. In the following video, a couple friends set out on a hike in the woods at night. Their location was never made public, but on their hike, they brought with them a night vision camera to see what kind of cool videos they could take. But as they made it to a particular spot in the woods, they began to feel like they were being watched, and it turns out they were right.
Ooh. Oh, I remember this video.
The two friends spot something moving in the distance, so they zoom in with their camera.
Yeah, I've seen this one.
Seen as a
We've seen
downright
this one.
disturbing sight. A creature with a pale white face and glowing eyes is seen. And it seems to either be wearing a cloak or cape or something, or it's covered in hair.
It's fur. Fur. That's a
Freezing the
Bigfoot.
footage, its face looks completely terrifying. It almost resembles a clown or something.
No, that's
But
a
as soon as
Bigfoot.
the guys spot it, it quickly moves away, fleeing
Yeah.
into the dark forest behind. The hikers were downright disturbed at what they saw, and they vowed to never go back into those woods again. And like most of these encounters, they have no clue what it was. Could it have been something paranormal or someone deranged roaming through the woods? No matter what, both are shocking and horrifying answers.
That's a Bigfoot. Because that's a normal reaction of a Bigfoot. Once they realize you've seen them, they usually do their best as to just blend in with the foliage around them and do their best to just get away from you, because they want nothing to do with people. They want nothing to do with people. They're very solitary creatures, most of them. Oh yeah, that was a Bigfoot.
Here is a very credible photo of a supposed Bigfoot just released the other day. It comes from the Eagle Cap Mountains across from Joseph, Oregon, and it was released on April 25th, 2024. The caption reads, "Looks to be a massive creature of some sort captured in a very remote area. Take note of the length of those arms."
Yeah, look at those.
Taking a look at the photo, the unknown creature is clearly huge.
Oh yeah.
It's also jet black, and just like the caption says, it has exceptionally long arms. Zooming in, we can see the legs are unproportionately long as well, making up for over half of the being's height. Because of these strange proportions and just the overall look of the creature, most hypothesize Bigfoot, including the uploaders.
Yeah, I'd say.
Estimating its height by looking at the trees surrounding, the dark creature is estimated at a whopping 10 feet tall.
Wow.
Since its publishing, the photo has caused a massive debate and is even puzzling scientists and professional debunkers. And the fact that we know exactly where and when it was captured makes it all the more real. Taking a look at a video coming from the Finger Lakes in upstate New York. A man went there for a weekend for a quick and relaxing getaway. He did this quite often and knows the Finger Lakes area quite well. Reportedly, he had been going there for over 7 years, but this trip he would see something that he had never seen before. Within the familiar lake is a strange, never-before-seen phenomenon. The man had no clue what it was, so he took this video and uploaded it to social media on April 29th, 2024. What could cause this? Some say it's just a weird bit of fog, but how is it sloping in and out of the water like this? Because of the otherworldly look, an interesting theory arose. Many believe this is a cloaked UFO hiding within this lake, trying to blend in, and the water and fog are maneuvering around it. Because UFOs are said to be from other planets with alien life, maybe they have access to technology that we can't wrap our brains around. Perhaps they can disguise their UFOs and spacecrafts with a cloak technology that can immediately at any time blend in with all of its surroundings, making it completely invisible. Many are very, very convinced that this is exactly what it was, something straight out of a horror movie.
Yeah, that might be true. That might be true. Because we don't know. I personally believe, I don't know, I've said this before, but I personally believe we're on the do not visit list. We're on the do not contact list for a reason. We are not ready. We're not ready. They haven't shown themselves to us face to face yet because we're not ready. They have a long way to go. We have a long way to go. And as a lot of people have said, we have a long way to go. And like I said, that's probably one of the reasons why we would be on a do not visit list or do not approach. I don't know. That'd be interesting. I don't know. There's some weird things out there. Anyway.
This creepy video has been freaking the internet out. Posted by Dustin Frazier only a couple days ago, the video has reeled in an astonishing 13 million views and counting. The man was home alone. His sister and her kids usually stay with him, but they were gone at the time, so Dustin decided to order some DoorDash. Eventually, he heard a slight knock at his door, so he peered out the window. But what he saw deeply disturbed him. This is what was standing there. She almost looks like a zombie or an undead witch. She just stands there motionless, peering back at him.
Looks like a Halloween prop to me.
Right after he sees this, he hears intense knocking on his front door. You can tell he's frightened, but as he talks to the camera, a disembodied whisper can be heard slightly, which Dustin said he didn't hear in the moment. The scary voice says, "I'll take you."
The kids had football practice, so they had to go do their own thing. So I ordered DoorDash.
And the knocks continue. He looks out the window again, and the creepy being is still there. Even though the footage is creepy, some point out that the witch could be a prop or something, because it's never seen moving. But how do you explain the strange, intense knocking and the scary, disembodied voice? I don't know. Could this all just be a clever hoax, or is it all too real? The following video was taken by a news reporter riding in a helicopter at night. As they patrolled the sky and got some video footage, they first spot a strange spotlight phenomenon with smoke tethered to the bottom of it. But as they look closer, something even stranger is going on.
What is that?
What is that? Yeah.
What is that? What is going on? It looks like maybe a missile or something.
It almost looks like ripples in water, but this is the night sky. What the heck is this? The reporter in the video tries to rationalize what they're seeing by asking if it was a missile or something, but no one has ever seen a missile look like this. How could an earthly craft or being create this phenomenon? According to the news reporter and helicopter pilot, this went on for several minutes, leaving them puzzled as to what they witnessed. Is this something extraterrestrial, or is there a possible worldly explanation here?
Oh no. Let's do it again.
Puzzled. How could an Earth, but no one has ever seen a missile look like this.
No.
How could an earthly craft or being create this phenomenon? According to the news reporter and helicopter pilot, this went on for several minutes, leaving them puzzled as to what they witnessed. Is this something extraterrestrial, or is there a possible worldly explanation here? In Zimbabwe, specifically near Lake Kariba, a man named Jason Whitehead would place a trail camera. His hope was to capture a specific wild creature, and he got exactly what he hoped for. In the late afternoon, a hippo came out to graze, and he got an amazing trail camera shot of it.
Oh yeah. This is rare, y'all. Rare.
Hippos don't often graze during the day, but they will come out sometimes if it's cloudy. However, it's most common for them to graze at night, and luckily for him, he caught that on camera as well. Now, the hippos may not look too scary here, but let me tell you, they're one of the scariest animals on the planet.
They are.
They can reach up to 17 feet long and can weigh up to around 10,000 pounds. And despite their hugeness, they can run at speeds of up to 30 miles per hour. That's faster than the fastest human of all time. And hippos are aggressive and very territorial, and often charge if provoked. On top of all of this, their bite strengths are around 1,820 psi. To put that into perspective, alligators with the strongest bite force in the world have a bite force of around 2,125 psi. So hippos are pretty close behind. Considering all of this, they're some of the scariest and most dangerous creatures in the entire world, landing them on today's list. This very strange video comes from a woman named Jessica in Kennewick, Washington. Her and her kids were playing outside in the backyard in the snow when they looked up and noticed something ominous floating in the sky.
Oh yeah, this. I almost forgotten about this. The black ring of smoke.
A dark ring of smoke hovers closely above. According to Jessica, this unsettling-looking ring of smoke lasted for a crazy 15 minutes until it slowly dissipated. How can a ring of smoke possibly form a perfect circle like that and stay there floating for 15 minutes straight? There's wind. How could wind not break it apart? News outlets began to pick up this footage and do stories on it and try to come up with answers. One outlet in particular raised a point, stating that the ring could have come from a controlled burn. But this still doesn't answer how it formed a perfect circle like this and how it's not breaking apart or dissipating. Even with the windy and snowy conditions, it truly makes no sense. And what makes this even more mysterious is 2 more of these smoke rings appeared over her house 2 days later, and the second one faded quicker than the other ones but created more smoke. So it remains unknown what caused this, but one thing's for sure, they definitely look otherworldly. The following mysterious photos were just uploaded to Reddit on February 4th, 2024, and viewers are puzzled. The photos come from Reddit with the caption, "A friend that lives in England found this in their garden." What looks like a very small humanoid creature is seen lying sideways in the grass. However, people quickly chalk this up to being a hoax, stating that the being is nothing but a crazy-looking root or plant of some sort. But take a look at the second picture. Now we really get a good look. From the front angle, we can see it has an elongated skull with eyes and a nose, and even a mouth. Looking even further, we can see the being has, well, let's just say a chest. And it also seems to have 2 long, scrawny arms and 4 legs or 3 legs and a tail or something. Online viewers began to quickly speculate that this was the corpse of an alien. I mean, how could a root or plant possibly have a face and body like this? However, this is still an ongoing debate and investigation considering the photos were just released the other day, so it hasn't been confirmed real or fake yet. And for some reason, the original posters on Reddit completely deactivated and deleted their accounts, causing much more mystery. I'll definitely follow up on this clip in the near future when more information is released. Alright, I think that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, go ahead and smash the like buttons, mom. Let's aim for 2,000 likes for another one of these scary trail camera videos. And if you want to get to know me more, you want to see more of my spooky content, you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Maxwell Fear, or you can go ahead and follow me on TikTok, Maximum Fear YT. And be sure to subscribe to the channel because only 14% of you guys who watch my videos are subscribed. And be sure to hit that bell as well so you don't miss when I upload. Also, feel free to check out my special Maximum Fear merchandise and coffee mugs. They're in the description down below. Also, feel free to check out my brand new second channel, More Maximum Fear. More content coming soon. Alright, I hope your fear was maximized. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Sorry
about that. I'm not off.
Flip and delete scan of eggs or 3 one thing I'll and do stories on it and try to come up with answers.
Sorry guys, didn't mean to not off.
One outlet in particular raised a point, stating that the ring could have come from a controlled burn. But this still doesn't answer how it formed a perfect circle like this and how it's not breaking apart or dissipating. Even with the windy and snowy conditions, it truly makes no sense. And what makes this even more mysterious is 2 more of these smoke rings appeared over her house 2 days later, and the second one faded quicker than the other ones but created more smoke. So it remains unknown what caused this, but one thing's for sure, they definitely look otherworldly.
Yeah, they do.
The following mysterious photos were just uploaded to Reddit on February 4th, 2024, and viewers are puzzled. The photos come from Reddit with the caption, "A friend that lives in England found this in their garden." What looks like a very small humanoid creature is seen lying sideways in the grass. However, people quickly chalk this up to being a hoax, stating that the being is nothing but a crazy-looking root or plant of some sort. But take a look at the second picture. Now we really get a good look. From the front angle, we can see it has an elongated skull with eyes and a nose, and even a mouth. Looking even further, we can see the being has, well, let's just say a chest. And it also seems to have 2 long, scrawny arms and 4 legs or 3 legs and a tail or something.
Yeah.
Online viewers began to quickly speculate that this was the corpse of an alien. I mean, how could a root or plant possibly have a face and body like this? However, this is still an ongoing debate and investigation considering the photos were just released the other day, so it hasn't been confirmed real or fake yet. And for some reason, the original posters on Reddit completely deactivated and deleted their accounts, causing much more mystery. I'll definitely follow up on this clip in the near future when more information is released.
Okay, look at this thing, guys. Look at this. Look at this thing. This is clearly a root, or it's clearly some sort of poor clay mold. If it's a root, then they carved the eyes and the nose and the mouth. You can easily paint those over with dye or something like that. This is clearly root systems. It's clearly a root of some sort.
Alright, I think that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, go ahead and smash the like buttons, mom. Let's aim for 2,000 likes for another one of these scary trail camera videos. And if you want to get to know me more, you want to see more of my spooky content, you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Maxwell Fear, or you can go ahead and follow me on TikTok, Maximum Fear YT. And be sure to subscribe to the channel because only 14% of you guys who watch my videos are subscribed. And be sure to hit that bell as well so you don't miss when I upload. Also, feel free to check out my special Maximum Fear merchandise and coffee mugs. They're in the description down below. Also, feel free to check out my brand new second channel, More Maximum Fear. More content coming soon. Alright, I hope your fear was maximized. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. What do you think, guys? Want to give him another? We gotta give him a chance. I think we should. He seems to be okay. He seems to be one of the newer ones. I will give him a chance. Well, we might react to some more of his videos if he has any. Anyway, all right. Now I want to move on to another new one that I haven't tried yet. What lurks beneath? See if anybody's on chat. Nope. Nobody's on chat. That's surprising. Alright, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. Before I do any more, I'm going to go grab me some coffee. And I'm going to make me some coffee and see if I can't wake myself up. I'll be back in a little bit. Okay? All right. Got some coffee. Got a cup of coffee. And back. All right, guys. Oh, that tastes good. You know, I tried the McCafe for Keurig makers, Keurig cups. I recommend you try them. They're really good. All right, we're gonna now we're gonna react to the stories. These stories turned out to be true. People are terrified. All right, this is what lurks beneath. Looks like he's got several, so we might have to come back and react to him. All right, you guys ready? I know I am now. So, all right, without further ado, away we go.
Francesca feared for her life after an unknown intruder invaded her property. But there's a problem. This intruder wasn't supposed to exist. And what's worse, she knows what it is. In fact, there has been a dark harbinger showing up all throughout history. And as you'll see in today's video,
Ooh.
Francesca is not alone.
Ooh.
You won't want to miss this one.
I'm home back.
In the evening of March of 2022, a Francesca had just finished for the day and was relaxing in her living room when she remembered to turn off the backyard light. So she casually got up, makes her way over to the French doors that looks out over her backyard, and flipped the switch. But as she went to walk away, she couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. And she had that sensation that she was being watched. And so she stopped and went back to the doors, turned and looked outside, expecting maybe to see some animal hiding out in her yard. But her yard was empty, or so she thought. Basically, all she could see was her husband's tools out from some yard work the day before. And so she stopped and grabbed a snack from the kitchen, and Francesca returned to the doors, still curious if her hunch was right, and that's when she saw something. Francesca was perplexed since there was no lights in that part of the yard, and it couldn't have been the light reflecting off a bike. So while gathering details, she tried to put together the strangeness of what she was seeing, like a mist engulfing around a silhouette of a large, hulking animal resembling a dog, but it was perched low to the ground. It just didn't make sense. And so the longer she stood in front of the door processing what she was seeing, the more unsettling things became. Suddenly, this creature whips around, revealing two gleaming eyes, a fang-filled snout, and tapered ears poking through this mist. She described a massive black dog, darker than the night around it. Now, this thing also moved so quickly that it looked like it collapsed into the dark mist surrounding it. And Francesca could not see past the mist, but she knew whatever animal was out there was not a normal animal, and she could potentially be dealing with something supernatural in nature. So Francesca is now completely petrified by what she is seeing. She turns immediately, sets off for the bedroom where she keeps her 32-pound recurve bow, and instinctively knew that something she could not explain was now in her backyard, some sort of unlikely supernatural intruder. So within 30 seconds, she's in the bedroom, she grabs the bow, she's got arrows on her back, she's ready for action, and she's back at the French doors. Her husband is aiding her, he's swung them open, and he's right there by her side. Now she looks out, positions herself appropriately, looking out in that same place in the backyard, and she's aiming, preparing to shoot whatever comes back, but when she looks into that darkened section of the park, well, there's nothing out of place. But now something else catches her eye, and she sees this black mist that's kind of curled up where the animal once was spotted, crouching down. Everything behind it is obscured by this black mist. Now, I want to point out here that this particular section of the yard is normally very well lit up, because Francesca's neighbor actually has a light post very close by, and the light from that just happens to illuminate this section in its proximity. Now, this animal is actually in a different spot than it was the first time she saw it, where it was completely in darkness. Now, it's in this spot that is fully illuminated. But the disturbing detail remains, and it's the fact that she can't see past this bizarre black misty animal. It's pretty unsettling, to say the least. And now she's holding up her bone, she's pulling it back, and she begins shouting at whatever this thing is that you need to leave now. I don't care who or what you are, but I'm prepared to shoot. And then it did something so out of the ordinary that she didn't have any viable explanation for it. This black, wispy mist sort of moved like it was being sucked out of the yard out over this back gate close by.
Ooh.
And this wasn't a small gate. Like, we're talking roughly 6 to 6.5 feet above the ground. And so after it was gone, it never came back to the house. Initially, she was just completely rattled and could not make any sense of what she had just witnessed. But she was very familiar with folklore and the Black Shuck due to her casual interest in those kinds of things. It actually sounds like she had somewhat of an education on it, but we're not sure how much. She never disclosed that. Whether it was a run-in with the legendary demon dog, the hellhound, or something else entirely, to this day, Francesca can't fully explain what it was she saw in her backyard. But we can't help but wonder if its presence alone was truly the sign that a tragedy would soon happen. Unfortunately, we'll never know.
Story 2, breaking in. Story 2, breaking in. Yeah. That's a hellhound. Ooh.
In the 1990s, a teenage girl from Wales, Jan, was sharing a pleasant evening with a friend at her own home. Along with her companion, a family dog named Ben was also currently present in the living room as these two girls just engaged in casual conversation and listening to music as the sun set on this autumn day. Now, Jan then decided to let Ben out in the front garden to try and give him some time to stretch his legs and to just move around. And then these two girls went back to chatting after she had come in from letting Ben outside. And while the two were chatting, Jan heard a sound that was very familiar to her. It was the sound of a dog clawing, her Cocker Spaniel breed actually, scratching at the front door, eager to be let back inside. This was no different than any other normal time. But instead of turning to let him in, Jan's friend actually walks over and opens the door just to casually let him in. But as she opens the door, Jan notices a strange animal that is not her Cocker Spaniel scurrying all throughout the house, thinking it must be her dog Ben, but it clearly wasn't. This strange beast-like creature raced past and up the stairs, which clearly exhibited non-canine behavior. And so in response, Jan lets out this scream as she instinctively knew that this thing was definitely not her dog. But somehow her friend, who had opened the door and was now standing in the hallway, just was completely oblivious to the presence of whatever this thing was that now had Jan so freaked out. Now, it took a moment for the two to process what they had just seen, and so as the chaos unfolded, Ben the dog had not entered the house at all. In fact, he was still clearly out in the garden. Now, of course, this led the terrified Jan to conclude that what came in her house was something otherworldly. In fact, she would describe this thing as being human-sized, standing at around 5 feet, with what she would say had leathery brownish skin and patches of black hair sporadically growing from its body. Its head was even described as being snout-like, with menacing, protruding teeth, and it had piercing red eyes. Now, of course, after this initial sighting, Jen and others living in her house would sporadically report on, but only hearing, heavy running footsteps of an animal, as if it were racing up the stairs, akin to the one Jan had witnessed that day when it ran up to the second floor. In fact, the occurrence actually became so frequent that many, including Jan, began referring to this strange phenomenon as a puka, or a hellhound, or some other elusive mythical entity. Now, obviously, What Jan encountered in the 90s was not a typical hellhound story. In fact, until she laid eyes on it, nothing had actually manifested. Before, there were always just vague, open to interpretation omens of tragedy or death, but Jan physically saw this thing in her house as it rummaged about and ran around, and in some of its appearance upstairs. So if the legendary hellhound is just that, a myth, what on earth did she see? Well, she's not alone. As a matter of fact, there's been so many people that have claimed to have similar experiences just like Jan's, with one such story that comes from a 15-year-old boy in Illinois who woke up one night to a strange sight in his bedroom that would go on to baffle him for years to come.
4:03, 2 a.m. Ooh.
In the 1990s, a 15-year-old boy in Illinois had awakened in the middle of the night to turn over, and he could see his digital alarm clock, which at the time read 2:06 in the morning. He lived in a pretty safe neighborhood and made sure to sleep with his blinds closed and his bedroom door shut and locked. But something on the other side of the room had caught his attention. He looked towards where his bedroom door is and saw a black dog with glowing green eyes and a tongue hanging out of its mouth. And it was doing something even stranger. It was running from one side of his bedroom to the other side, which came right near the foot of his bed. This thing looked just like a Labrador Retriever, but with a more slightly pointed nose and skinnier legs. But there was an even stranger phenomenon happening at the same time. It made no noise at all, as if it were running on air instead of the floorboards beneath its feet. Now, never once did it even take notice of the teenage boy, despite him watching this thing only a few feet away. In complete bafflement and disbelief, he attempts to reach out and touch this thing, but then it completely vanishes before his eyes. Despite feeling very frustrated from this apparition, he just lay there in bed for several minutes, looking over at his alarm clock, trying to process what he had seen, and then he somehow went to sleep. Also, very important is the fact that his door was still locked in the morning, meaning that this extremely weird thing that happened in his room somehow also managed to get out again, even though the door was still locked. He is puzzled on how it managed to get in and how it got out, but he's certain what he saw, a paranormal creature resembling a black dog. Now, in spite of being separated by distance and time, the teenage boy in Illinois and the adult Welsh woman had both witnessed eerily similar entities. These encounters, to the observers, defied logic and reality. In fact, in 1577, just a couple of 100 miles southeast of Wales, a strange beast was reportedly taking center stage inside churches of all places and striking people dead with its presence alone. One of the most terrifying hellhound legends is the black dog that haunts the small English town of Bungay in Suffolk. Hopefully I just got some bonus points for those of you watching across the pond on my pronunciation of that. Over 400 years ago, you found a head resembling a black but phenomenon happening at the same time. It made no noise at all, as if it were running on air instead of the floorboards beneath its feet. Now, never once did it even take notice of the teenage boy, despite him watching this thing only a few feet away. In complete bafflement and disbelief, he attempts to reach out and touch this thing, but then it completely vanishes before his eyes.
That sounds more like a ghost dog, more than a hellhound. I don't know, that's just me, but...
Despite feeling very frustrated from this apparition, he just lay there in bed for several minutes, looking over at his alarm clock, trying to process what he had seen, and then he somehow went to sleep. Also, very important is the fact that his door was still locked in the morning, meaning that this extremely weird thing that happened in his room somehow also managed to get out again, even though the door was still locked. He is puzzled on how it managed to get in and how it got out, but he's certain what he saw, a paranormal creature resembling a black dog. Now, in spite of being separated by distance and time, the teen boy in Illinois and the adult Welsh woman had both witnessed eerily similar entities. These encounters, to the observers, defied logic and reality. In fact, in 1577, just a couple of 100 miles southeast of Wales, a strange beast was reportedly taking center stage inside churches of all places and striking people dead with its presence alone.
Oh my goodness. Black Death.
One of the most terrifying hellhound legends is the black dog that haunts the small English town of Bungay in Suffolk. Hopefully I just got some bonus points for those of you watching across the pond on my pronunciation of that. Over 400 years ago, this demonic entity left a church full of people knowing what would be ample proof of the existence of hellhounds. It all started on a warm Sunday morning in August of 1577.
Now, that's the thing. The dog in the room, the ghost dog in the room, didn't even act like he even acknowledged the boy. Now, when he touched it, disappeared. I think that was just a ghost. I think that was just a ghost dog. But there's a big difference between a ghost dog and a hellhound. Hellhounds, they are basically demons that have taken the form of dogs, that have taken the dog-like, or canine-like, or wolf-like form. They're still tormentors. They are very dangerous, and as the old saying goes, as this is not a species you want to lock eyes with. If you do, you can die. They will kill you. They are very powerful. They are very ruthless. They're very strong. Yeah, they're bad news. And if they're here for you, you're gonna know it. So yeah.
Parishioners made their way into St. Mary's Church in Bungay for their prayer service. The time was between 9 and 10 in the morning, and the priest was almost ready to begin their worship when a summer storm had suddenly rolled through the town.
I think it's Bungay. That's just me, but I think it's Bungay, not Bungay. Well, whatever.
It was a violent thunderstorm. And the parishioners thought it best to stay safe inside the church until the storm passed, which unfortunately worked out quite well for the hellhound. They had to remember that at this time, having a huge storm rolling in is kind of a big deal. You kind of got to stay inside. And so a short time later, the storm intensified. Lightning struck, and a man who was actually outside the church on the roof cleaning the gutters got hit by lightning and tumbled to the ground.
Oh!
It was complete havoc. Everyone's terrified and panicking.
Oh my gosh!
Now, understand as well that in 1577,
Good
England had a
Lord.
strong Christianized influence since around the 6th century. And
Yeah.
people at the time certainly were adamant about hauntings and demons. And so there was
yeah.
this real fear of a demon showing up in your church if you refused to lead a good Christian life. So
They believed back then, guys. They strongly believed back then. That's our problem nowadays. We don't want to believe stuff like this actually exists when in fact it does. But anyway.
at this time, the fear in the town and in the church only grew as this storm goes on, and then it finally happened. The moment was here. A young boy who was among the congregation was standing near a window when the storm broke and started looking outside with a very confused expression on his face. And he's pointing to something. And he's like, what is that? It's coming towards the church. And so a bunch of startled churchgoers suddenly jump up to look out the window. And at this point, they're not really focused on the storm anymore. And they're looking towards the direction where the boy is pointing. And coming down the hill off in the distance that sat right behind St. Mary's Church, incredibly terrifying during this crazy storm, mind you, was this big, black, demonic-looking dog.
Good
And as soon
Lord.
as people saw it, everyone started screaming, they're hollering. They believed that what they were seeing was indeed the hellhound who was
Oh my
bringing
gosh.
death with it. And so this hellhound actually enters the church, and it then walks between these two churchgoers who were on their knees praying, and both dropped dead in its wake. It nearly killed another man when he reached out
Whoa.
to touch the hellhound, although I'm not sure why you'd want to reach out and touch this if you're already scared, but he collapses on the ground, starts writhing and shriveling up like a snail that had just been salted, but remained alive, and then as quickly as it had entered the church, it left. And when it did so, it left behind two dead churchgoers, as mentioned, and several other church members who were actually struck with paralysis. Now, even stranger,
Oh my
some
gosh.
unseen mysterious force had completely destroyed and mangled the large clock inside the church. Gears were bent and broken and twisted in ways that were not humanly possible. The description of the demonic animal that rampaged through this church and the one that Jan witnessed running up the stairs in her home are eerily similar.
Whoa.
In fact, both are reminiscent of hellhounds, which by now, if you don't know, they are mythical beasts that are said to bring omens of death with them. Huge, hulking black with blazing, fiery red eyes, and apparently, if you look directly into them, it would cause you to die suddenly. Now, what's interesting is hellhounds are thought to be the guardians of the underworld, while in other cultures they are seen as the spirits of the restless dead. In fact, some believe that hellhounds are the ghosts of evil people who are doomed to wander the earth for eternity. Now, could this be why this being singled out and attacked these two churches? We don't know. But in another chilling account reminiscent of what happened at Bungay, the hellhound was far from over. It was said to have paid a similar visit to the Holy Trinity Church in Blibra, just a few miles away.
Ooh.
Now, in a striking parallel to the incident at St. Mary's, the hellhound killed two men, injured others, and even the gouges it left on the door, which had been preserved over time, leaving a lasting scar from that day. The mysterious being that attacked these two churches remains a mystery.
Whoa. That sounds more like the Great Destroyer in the Old Testament times. During the Passover in Exodus. That sounds more like the Destroyer or Death. I mean, I may be reaching here, but that sounds more like what that is. I don't know if you guys have read any of the Harry Potter books, but they also talk about a big black dog called the Grim, that hangs around in cemeteries and old, broken down, old abandoned church buildings. And you see this dog, it's big and black, and you see this dog, and it's an omen of death. That may be what the Grim is. It's maybe a hellhound. I don't know. Irish hellhound. Ooh.
In 1952, an Irish woman named Margot Ryan was a normal, hardworking Irish woman who lived in County Wicklow and farmed for a living. On a particularly dark, foggy night, she was lugging a heavy canister of buttermilk down a secluded country road. Now, suddenly, she began to hear a strange noise that she couldn't immediately identify. Now, as her brain starts to process what was going on, this was her chilling realization. The sound she was hearing was something heavy and walking just behind her. And so without turning around to acknowledge this presence, Margot continues to walk down the path, and the heavy footfalls came right alongside with her every step of the way. Margot was completely off-put and alarmed by the presence of this unknown animal. But as these two walked down the path together, she would begin to let her guard down and would feel a strange sense of comfort. And so the two of them would continue walking, and she did her best to keep her eyes on the road, and she's thinking to herself, this can't be happening. I have no idea what this thing is. And so she reaches her hand out to touch it, and she feels nothing. And now she's completely confused by this and tries a few more times with the same result. Completely puzzled, she tries again, but her hand goes right through this dog's image. Now, on her third or fourth or fifth attempt, whatever this is at this point, she discovered that this dog had actually moved away several feet. Now, she actually turns to face the animal and sees it in full for what it is. A large black dog that looked very out of place just due to its physical appearance and very large size. As the stunning realization actually began to hit her that this thing wasn't of this world, she actually reached out again and her hand would pass right through it. And so she stepped back, and as she did, the dog also stepped back with her, and she's thinking that this is a specter or a ghost of some kind and that she needs to get home now. So after a period where both Margot and the dog had continued their trek even more because this thing kept following her, the dog gets to about 50 yards from her, abruptly stops in the middle of the road, turns its head to face Margot directly, and then just vanishes before her eyes like that. Now, although she scrutinized the area very much because she was certain it was impossible for this thing to have escaped, the road was actually flanked by steep banks. And so in a state of sheer terror, she runs home to share her frightening encounter with her family, and they immediately believed her. They knew the old stories about the demonic dogs in Wicklow, and so the Ryan family remained convinced that the black dog that Margot had seen and felt was a hellhound. Now, in Ireland and Scotland, there are strong associations with the fairy folk known as the Coo Sheep. Now, while they're often depicted as malevolent, there are some stories that portray them as being more benevolent, such as leading lost travelers back to their destinations or even guarding buried treasures. These legends made their way to the United States with early settlers, and even today, there are similar stories that exist of spectral dogs that can actually be found all throughout the country, especially on these lonesome roads where their presence is often seen as this kind of warning or an impending tragedy or death.
Now, I was going to say, that's the story that he told there. That seemed more like a guardian more than a hellhound. Trying to keep her on the path, not to keep trying to keep her from straying too far off of it. That doesn't sound like a hellhound at all. Yeah. Now that sounds more like a guardian. I don't know. Weird.
In fact, a very recent story from 2018 comes to mind where a woman who spent that Halloween in a hospital had a terrifying experience that she could not rationally explain away. Did this experience of hers that I'm about to tell you predict what was about to happen? Well, I'll let you decide. In the fall of 2018, Becky had been hospitalized over the course of 4 nights. It just so happened that one of these 4 nights would land on Halloween, and so at this time, there was actually a shortage of hospital beds, which would cause her to end up in the surgical wing. Now, this is where she wound up sharing a room with 3 other patients. And so that night, she really had trouble sleeping. She would be tossing and turning and just longing for sleep. For some reason, her body wouldn't let her fall into a restful sleep. Look, I get it. Hospital beds aren't the comfiest, but this was something out of the ordinary that was about to happen. Now, at one point or another, Becky looks up at the clock and sees that it's 11:47. And just as that happens, she happens to look over at the window at something that had caught her eye. Now, she sees something there that doesn't belong. Not only does it not belong, it should be impossible because she's on an upper floor with only a roof landing underneath it. There's no way anything could have possibly gotten up here. But outside of her window, she saw this massive black dog with the deepest, strongest red eyes she's ever seen. It was just glaring at her, and so she completely froze up in her hospital bed and out of reaction covers her face and turns away. And so when she finally turns back over and looks, it's completely gone at this point. Now, not even 30 minutes later, she sees this same figure again, but this time it's peering in at her from a window that's across the hallway. And now she goes into a full-fledged panic attack, realizing she's not crazy and that she's actually seeing something that shouldn't be there. However, the face would vanish shortly thereafter. And at this point, Becky was about to understand the reason for its presence. Only moments later, the entire surgical wing goes into a lockdown. There's commotion, there's screaming and all sorts of noise. Becky can see nurses and doctors rushing around outside. It was complete panic, and it would go on for hours. Now, as it turns out, a pregnant woman in the room right next to hers had gone completely psychotic as a result of an adverse reaction to the medication she was given. And so after going into a full-blown psychosis, she began banging on doors and screaming and crying, convinced the hospital had it out for her and were trying to overdose her. As a result of these things, the woman died. Now, whether this hellhound was actually foreshadowing this unseen tragedy is really anyone's guess. But the screams and cries that Becky heard that night from that woman will scar her forever.
Hellhounds like to party?
This next story...
Hellhounds like to party? Well, hey, just look at Luna from Hell of a Boss.
This next story comes directly from Dr. Young's Fairy Consensus. In the 2010s in British Columbia, a young teenage girl was in her parents' house when they were throwing a house party. As she wanted a break from the adults, so she decided to step outside onto the back deck and just get a little bit of fresh air. And she thought that she'd enjoy the silence, and as she stood on the back deck looking at the stars, she heard a sound coming from the family shed. And what happened next is straight out of a horror movie. About 10 feet away, she sees something. She suddenly freezes. It was like her brain was having a hard time understanding what was going on. Because just about 10 feet away, on one of their shingled one-story sheds, was this gigantic black dog that was kind of pacing the roof of this shed. And the sighting was so bizarre that it made her jaw drop because she could not make sense of it. I mean, how could this dog manage to climb up on the roof but somehow keep its balance? Because this roof was angled at like 30 degrees, and like I said, it was shingled, and so she's just trying to rationalize what she's seeing. And so she's thinking, okay, maybe the dog belongs to someone at the party, and that would at least explain her seeing it, but why and how was it on top of the shed, and why?
Okay, who brought the dog? Quoting Rick Moranis from Ghostbusters.
Dogs can't climb ladders, can they? But
yeah, they can.
Even her common sense was telling her that this was just not right. No one on their street owned a dog that looked like this, or at least at this size, and even stranger were its glowing eyes that were this golden hue. Now, after this dog had noticed her, it did something terrifying. It began to run towards her, paralyzing her even more with fear. She could not move as this thing somehow glided across this sharply angled narrow roof right at her at breakneck speed. She was convinced in this moment that she was going to die, but miraculously, it just vanished right before it got to her. It didn't fall off the roof, it didn't jump farther over the fence, it didn't go backwards, it just disappeared. And of course, like any of us would be, she was completely stunned. And so after seeing this thing and regaining enough composure to move her body, she completely runs away and tells her mom immediately, "Mom, there's this huge black dog on our shed's roof, and it just vanished as it jumped at me." And of course, her mom is on the phone, she's like, "Yeah, well, whatever, just go away." And, she tells her, "Listen, your friends are here. Are we really gonna do these ghost stories right now? Really? Really?" In short, the girl has no idea how to explain what it was she witnessed, but it did not fit into any realm of any normal dog she'd ever seen before. And to add to that fact is that it was able to get up on top of an angled, shingled roof, and that raises questions too, but unfortunately, it all remains unsolved.
All in the family.
Now, what about the idea that these hellhounds are actually the result of a cursed bloodline? And the Hound of the Baskervilles, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle familiarized his readers with this very concept. In fact, years and years ago, a 7-year-old Canadian boy at the time had a paranormal encounter while at a cemetery. And like many families, this Canadian man's family made a habit of visiting cemeteries to look for the headstones of the relatives. And so on one particular outing in Nova Scotia, the family had found themselves in a burial plot adjacent to an old mansion. And while the young boy was playing among the graves, he suddenly and inexplicably encountered what he could only describe as a huge black dog. The only thing he could really remember about the creature was that it was all black, its eyes glowed red, and it was much larger than any normal dog. And so he cries out for his mom, and when she arrived, the dog was gone, and there was no reasonable explanation for where it had went. And for whatever reason, when the boy told his mother about this huge dog, she was completely unfazed by it, and she basically shrugged it off and just wrote it off as it not being a big deal. Now, his sighting was soon forgotten about at the time, but a far more sinister truth would soon come out, because as he got older, he would discover that he was not the only person in his family to have had an encounter with this petrifying creature. Now, his father and grandfather actually had strangely similar sightings. His father had been attacked by a large black ghostly dog when he was just a little boy. And his grandfather had seen the exact same creature while he was out hunting. His grandfather even went so far as to shoot at this thing, but realized the bullets had no effect on it, and it continued to chase after him until it suddenly vanished. So the real question is, was his family somehow cursed by this mysterious black ghostly dog? And more importantly, why hadn't it attacked him like it had his father and grandfather?
That's creepy.
In the summer of 2011, Andy noticed something unusual as he was leaving his girlfriend's neighborhood in Detroit, Michigan. And as he was driving, he caught sight of something out of the corner of his eye. Now, he described it as a large, well-muscled figure that was moving incredibly fast, possibly up to 50 miles per hour, just across the street. And described this figure looking like a phantom black dog. This thing was darting from the road and into a cul-de-sac and then off into a section of trees, and never once did it even notice or pay any attention to Andy despite his headlights shining right on it. Either that or just ignored him purposefully. And so as he's watching this, he's thinking to himself, what on earth is this thing? What am I seeing? And so he's following it, expecting it to emerge out into the forest on the other side, anticipating it, but it never reappears on the other side of the cul-de-sac. Now, Andy's description is interesting because he saw this creature being the size of an adult lion, but it had the body shape that resembled a canine, and that it had pitch black fur covering its body. And because of the time and the lighting around him, he couldn't exactly discern other details on the head. However, he would get much closer to this thing than he would have ever liked to. So about a week goes by and something else strange happens. Andy had been out for a smoke in this garage when he felt a sudden sense of dread. Now, he couldn't shake the feeling that somebody was watching. And he's thinking this is strange because he's in his garage and there's nobody here. But he just stood there looking around, and suddenly the car that was parked furthest away from him begins to shake. Now, he's trying to rationalize, thinking that it might be a cat, but he knew it was something more. Then he hears this terrifying sound, this deep growl mixed with these high-pitched screeches. It was deafening, it was loud, and the car just violently shook. It was as if the creature was warning Andy to leave, and then it became agitated by his presence. And of course, he's terrified by this and runs back inside, and funny enough, he actually leaves a note on the door for his brother that, hey, there's something strange in the garage, stay out. Now, despite the horrifying experience, he somehow managed to fall asleep. And so the next morning, he sees the note he wrote and he just kind of chuckles it off, thinking, man, I don't know where my head was last night, but I must have been in some sort of mental funk that I write this. This whole thing seems so silly. I can't believe I even wrote this. And so he's got this newfound courage, and he goes to the side door of the garage, which was still shut, mind you, and as he opens it quickly, wow! This pitch black creature shoots out, moving faster than anything he'd ever seen. It was the size of a medium-large dog, but the speed at which it moved was inconsistent with that of any dog he's ever seen. It was like a blur, and he only caught a glimpse of it before it had vanished into the woods right across the street. Now, just like Andy's first sighting, he never did get a good look at it, or at least the head, but based on its other physical characteristics, the only thing that really comes to mind is a hellhound. What's really interesting is that there seems to be a connection between hellhounds and modern dogman sightings. In the context of Western Europe, I mean, this actually does make sense, as these phantom black dogs are sometimes believed to have the ability to shapeshift. And in Jan's case from earlier, she identified her intruder as a puka, a fairy-like creature known for appearing in a variety of disguises, from animals like dogs and horses to more humanoid shapes, and interestingly, goblins. Now, lastly, this story was shared by the daughter of a woman, Claudine, who at the time was staying with a friend and her husband in Houston, Texas. On a quiet evening, Claudine was sitting there waiting in her car for her friend to join her, and while she was sitting and waiting in the driveway, she just took a quick glance in her rearview mirror, and that's when she saw this thing. What Claudine saw next defies all rational explanation. She witnessed a large black dog, but it wasn't behaving like a dog normally does. This was walking upright like a human does. However, it never once touched her vehicle, and it never got down on all fours. It just maintained its gait the entire time that Claudine was looking at this thing through the rearview mirror. And Claudine's daughter, who actually would recount this experience, described the absolute fear and terror in her mother's eyes and her voice as she spoke about this experience. And so Claudine would turn white as a ghost as she would see this mysterious figure, and then it would actually vanish right before her eyes, like many of the other stories here. And as a matter of fact, Claudine would go and visit this same friend just a few years ago. And funny enough, the subject of spirits and the supernatural would come up, and Claudine just starts to break down, and she confesses and tells her friends exactly what she had saw all those years ago. Because at this point, she hadn't told anybody about the sighting that she had had. Well, interestingly, as they're having a conversation about it, her friend's husband just mentions that he's seen it too and doesn't know what it is. What do you guys think of her experience? Most importantly of all, I want to know what you guys think. Was it a hellhound that was seen in all these various accounts spanning across time and places? Something more innocent or something darker? And because you guys have made it this far into the video, I want you to all comment down below puka, so I know who made it to the end of the video and who did not. And if you guys enjoyed today's episode, be sure to go ahead and smack that like and subscribe button for more content just like this. As always, I love you all, keep an open mind, and I'll catch you all in the very next episode.
All right, dude. And we did it. All right. We may have to check him out some more too. We have to check him out some more too. All right, let's check. Nobody on. Well, I guess we're doing solo tonight, guys. Oh well. All right. You know what? I think since we don't have too many people on here, we're doing one more. And that's going to be it, guys. Oh. All right. We're going to watch the new Sir Spooks video. All right. 13 scary videos to give you nightmares. Sir Spooks. This is brand new, guys, so I have not even seen this. So, let's go.
Hello everyone, my name is Sir Spooks, and today we'll take a look at 13 scary videos. But before we begin,
Alright.
make sure to subscribe to my channel for more scary content. Alright, with that said, let's begin.
13.
This first video comes to us from a user on TikTok known as Fran Devil, who shared the footage to their account on March 24th, 2024. Throughout the duration of the video, we watch as the uploader records the inside of their living room, while all is silent in the house. Initially, the video just seems to have some random piece of footage that the uploader shot with nothing of real interest occurring. However, in a couple of seconds, it becomes clear that something very wrong is going on inside this uploader's house.
Sí, los sonidos en mi casa muy extraños. ¿Qué coño? Oh.
Out of nowhere, a sound can be heard coming from somewhere within the kitchen. The uploader promptly heads over to where the source of the noise is to investigate, but he ultimately turns up with nothing. It's only a few seconds later in which this eerie sound can be heard.
Ooh. Oh.
At this point, surely this TikToker is scared out of their mind, trying to make sense of the scary
Yeah.
events that are transpiring within the confines of their house. But before the video ends, there is one last scare.
Si lo estás viendo, ¿eh? Lo estoy documentando todo. Esto va peor. Joder, tío.
Unfortunately,
Ooh.
this video doesn't really have a lot of context provided with it.
Whoa.
We can assume that the uploader was probably experiencing some strange occurrences beforehand,
That looks
which is
real.
why they started to film in the first place.
I don't see any wires or anything. That looks
If it
real.
does turn out that this place is haunted, then I think it's a good idea for them to look at houses on the market immediately.
Mm-hmm. That looked real, guys.
A guy on TikTok going by the username Wade Wilson's Son posted a video to his account on April 8th, 2024, in which he can be seen wandering downstairs to the basement level of his house. He says that if you have ever purchased a home with a mysterious hole in it, he advises that you go in it. It sounds like he's in quite a strange situation, to say the least. Take a look.
You ever bought a home with a hole? I advise go in it. Nope. Way, Jimmy. Oh my god, bro. Are you kidding me? Come out here.
Something very strange about this whole thing is that the boards seem to be nailed from the inside, as shown at around the 5-second mark in the video. This is a quite creepy detail, to say the least. Of course, the creepiest thing about this video is the fact that there is some kind of a strange tunnel system inside of this TikToker's house. How long was this tunnel system present? Was it there as
Ooh.
soon as the house was first constructed? If the answer is yes, then the other question would be, what's its purpose? This seems like the setup for some creepy horror movie that hasn't been released yet. Let's just hope that this TikToker is going to be fine living in this house, and that one day, some horrifying creature won't crawl through and try to harm him.
That's creepy.
Next up, I'm going to show you guys a video that was posted to Instagram by a user known as Suk-E-Bashar, who filmed some dashcam footage of him driving down a dark and deserted road in the middle of the night on 3 separate occasions. Just by taking a quick look at the video, nothing at first seems to be out of the ordinary. We watch as the guy driving casually twists and turns with the road with not a lot of light around. However, things get really strange right about here.
Yeah, what in the world? Ooh. Yeah.
If you look carefully, you can make out what appears to be some kind of mysterious creature running across the road. The third video here is probably the best in terms of how good of a look we get at the creature. Even still though, the shot isn't 100% clear. Some people in the comment section believe that this could be something as innocent and harmless as a monkey, whereas others are convinced that the entity in the video is something significantly more sinister. So what do you guys think this is? Is it possible that this is just a monkey and nothing more? Or do you think that the entity is something creepier?
I hope
Be sure
it
to leave your
is.
thoughts in the comments down below. On November 6th, 2019, a woman named Tony Rogers posted a video to her YouTube channel which seemingly shows evidence that her house may be harboring some kind of uninvited guests. In the video, Tony explains that she was simply getting dressed to head out for work when all of a sudden her dog started acting scared, which prompted her to pull out her phone camera and start filming. Throughout the duration of the video, we can hear Tony asking her pet dog what's wrong, but no matter what, Tony is unable to figure out what her adorable pooch could be so afraid of. However, it doesn't take her too long to find out.
We'll look back a little bit.
You think the video is something significantly
Okay,
more sinister?
yeah.
So what do you guys think this is?
Now I see
Is it
it.
possible that this is just a monkey and nothing more? Or do you think that the entity is something
Now it's a
creepier?
weirdo in a
Be sure
cloak.
to leave your thoughts in the comments down below. On November 6th, 2019, a woman named Tony Rogers posted a video to her YouTube channel which seemingly shows evidence that her house may be harboring some kind of uninvited guests. In the video, Tony explains that she was simply getting dressed to head out for work when all of a sudden her dog started acting scared, which prompted her to pull out her phone camera and start filming.
Man, what the hell is this?
Throughout the duration of the video, we can hear Tony asking her pet dog what's wrong, but no matter what, Tony is unable to figure out what her adorable pooch could be so afraid of. However, it doesn't take her too long to find out.
She's acting really strange today. I don't know what's going on with her. What is it, Baze? I don't see anything. Bailey? What? What is she looking at? Bailey? What was that? Did you just hear that? Bailey? She keeps looking over here. I don't know what her deal is, but something's not right. God, what is that noise? Bailey, what is it?
Whoa!
Oh my God, did that chair just move?
It did.
Oh
Whoa!
my God.
Oh my goodness.
All
Yeah,
of a sudden,
dogs are out of
one of
there.
the chairs in the room begins to move all on its own, much to the confusion and sheer terror of Tony, who ends the video shortly thereafter, perhaps too scared to film any further. Despite the fact that this video is several years old now, there still hasn't been any sort of concrete explanation given to this story, making us all wonder what kind of strange spirit was messing around in Tony's house that day. Bradley's Locksmith, commonly referred to as Bradley Lock and Key, is a locksmith business situated in Savannah, Georgia, in the United States. It is the oldest company still in operation in Savannah and among the oldest locksmith businesses nationwide, having been founded in 1883. Since 1967, it has been situated in the northeast tithing block of Wright Square at its present site, the Patrick Duffy Building. It was housed in a structure that dates back to 1885. And as it turns out, it may also be haunted. The following video was shared to the ghost subreddit by a user known as Dummy Razor, who was outside of Bradley's Lock and Key at 2 o'clock in the morning. Take a look and see if you notice anything unusual happening.
What the? World?
There seems to be some kind of strange activity happening just below and to the right of the locks, right about here. Now, as for what this upload was doing in front of this store so early in the morning is anybody's guess. Perhaps he works there. Regardless, this creepy video just goes to show you that even some places such as a locksmith can be haunted by spirits. Let's just hope that the spirits within don't try to harm the customers next. Sometimes our beloved pets can see or experience things that us humans can't. That seems to be exactly what was happening in the following video published to YouTube by a channel known as Ghost Tales. In the video, we watch as an adorable dog can be seen simply going about its day sitting down on the nice carpeted floor. However, out of nowhere, the dog gets spooked by something that both we, the viewer and the uploader, cannot see.
Wow. Always trust your dogs, folks. Always trust your dogs. They can see stuff you can't.
The uploader then asks the dog what it's barking at, but the uploader cannot figure it out. It's very clear that the dog is freaked out by what it saw, but nevertheless, it continues to investigate the area, perhaps trying its best to protect its owner, which is quite adorable. However, if this video wasn't already unsettling enough, it's made even more creepy at around the 1.5 minute mark, when out of nowhere, this can be seen.
Got something.
Out of nowhere, an orange ball can be seen getting rolled out from under the cupboard. Who or what could have possibly caused this ball to roll out like that? It's something that the uploader cannot seem to figure out. Does the dog notice that the spirit is perhaps trying to play ball with it? Regardless of what is truly going on here, it's quite creepy to say the least. In this creepy TikTok video posted by user to the floor 269, we watch as the uploader wanders around in his house after he heard something. It was at that point in which he decided he pulled out his phone and started recording, just in case he captured something. As it turns out, he definitely did. For the first little bit of the video though, it certainly appears as if there isn't anything wrong with the house. We watch as the uploader walks into various different rooms of the house, but he doesn't manage to find anything of interest. However, that all changes at around the 2-minute and 15-second mark of the video, when all of a sudden this happens.
Excuse me.
There's something in here. I'm telling you.
No kidding.
No.
Out of nowhere, a bunch of things can be seen getting thrown off the kitchen table, seemingly by themselves. Of course, this can't be possible. Just by taking a good look at the video, it doesn't appear as though there were any visible strings attached to any of the items, and it doesn't seem as if there are any windows open nearby either. By all accounts, it seems as if a ghost was present in this guy's house and managed to cause a bit of trouble. Let's just hope that things don't escalate from here. Either way, if I was the homeowner and this video was real, I'd be losing a ton of sleep.
Whoa! Yeah, I would too.
The following piece of footage was filmed by a woman named Angel, who posted the video to her TikTok account. In the footage, we see an adorable cat perched on top of something in her room, but it seems as though it's staring at something. For the first little while, we don't really know what exactly the cat is looking at, but it's crystal clear that it's bothered by something. Then, just a couple of seconds later, we finally see why this cat is so spooked. Do you see it? Some kind of face can be seen in the top window above the door. It looks as though this person is trying to
again.
Oops. Then pat is top of something in.
Sorry, let me see it again.
The following piece of footage was filmed by a woman named Angel, who posted the video to her TikTok account. In the footage, we see an adorable cat perched on top of something in her room, but it seems as though it's staring at something. For the first little while, we don't really know what exactly the cat is looking at, but it's crystal clear that it's bothered by something. Then, just a couple of seconds later, we finally see why this cat is so spooked. Do you see it? Some kind of face can be seen in the top window above the door. It looks as though this person is trying their best to peer into the uploader's bedroom for some creepy reason. The uploader says that they hope they weren't hallucinating, but they definitely weren't. A second video that was posted to her account shows her walking around outside, where you'd think that she would have some peace, but unfortunately, as you're about to see, that is not the case. As you just saw, the same creepy entity appears once again, bothering the uploader for some unknown reason. Angel says that the entity whispers softly, telling her to follow deeper into the darkness. What does this mean? Let's just hope that Angel never finds out.
Yeah. Okay, I'm almost done here.
Well, I mean, not right this second. But
Yeah.
let's wait.
We won't. Look at that.
This mean?
Oh, damn it.
Hello everyone, my name is Sir Spooks, and today we'll take a look. Let's just hope that Angel never finds out.
I don't know what. That could be a ghost, or it could be somebody playing a prank on her. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to get awake here. I'm not doing very well.
This next video was published to the popular UFO subreddit by a user known as Tasty Beverage, who says that he got this video from Newfolk. They received some very strange footage from South Africa, captured at 4 that morning by their son on a high-security rhino farm equipped with state-of-the-art security systems, including radar, which initially detected the object.
What the hell is that?
Despite efforts, they couldn't identify the object on camera.
What
Since it
in
was
the
a no-fly
world?
zone, a team of rangers was dispatched, but they heard neither lights nor sound and couldn't locate anything in the darkness. The object didn't travel in a straight line and changed course unpredictably. They shared the video of the peculiar object, along with 2 still images showing its different directions of travel, depicted by yellow and white dotted lines through areas with no established routes. Its height varied throughout, appearing high at times and very low at others. They were certain it wasn't a drone, and noted that the object's shape seemed to shift on top, as if scanning or performing some other function. Overall, they found it exceedingly odd, which is totally understandable. So, I'm curious, what do you guys make of this strange video? Do you think that this video depicts authentic footage of a UFO, or is this something else entirely? As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.
You know, if there are aliens, if there really are aliens, I think some of them out there are pranksters. They don't have to mess with their heads. I don't know, guys.
This next video will surely make you feel quite nostalgic while also giving you goosebumps. The footage that you're watching is security camera footage taken from the inside of a Mexican blockbuster all the way back in November of 2007. The video in question was filmed by a YouTuber known as Free98.
Wow, remember those guys? Blockbuster Video.
The CCTV is filming overnight footage while the store is closed. But just because the store was closed to the general public doesn't necessarily mean that it was closed to the spirit world. At around the 1 minute mark in the video, we watch as an overnight stock employee is simply trying to do his job when all of a sudden something bizarre happens that he can't explain.
Ooh.
Nevertheless, the man continues to do his job, but things get increasingly creepier from here on out. Have a look.
Okay, well, that's one gutsy guy here. No. I think he's got a prankster here. Yep. I think he's got a prankster. And he's definitely got a prankster. Whoa! I was like, what?
It's actually kind of amazing how unfazed this guy mostly appears, because I think that if most of us were to ever find ourselves in a situation such as this one, we wouldn't want to be anywhere near that area.
I'm
Sure, this particular employee isn't nostalgic for Blockbuster like the rest of us are.
My theory is I think he's used to it. I think he's used to it. I think it's happened to him so many times. It's like, oh, great, here we go again. Will you stop this? I'm trying to do my job. And then you got a prankster ghost who's getting their kicks doing this. Yeah, I think he's used to it.
A YouTuber known as My Name is Sam posted video to his channel on September 10th, 2020, in which he explains, quote, "Lost power last night, so I went down to the basement to check the breaker box. On my way back up, I heard something coming from the laundry room and went to check. What I saw proved to me there is something in my house." End quote. As Sam proceeds to investigate the source of the power outage, he takes his camera with him and ends up recording some truly scary noises that are seemingly unexplainable. Have a listen.
Everything looks okay. I guess I'm gonna have to call the power company.
That's Ghost for Come Play With Me.
Then, just as you think that things couldn't possibly get scarier, this happens next.
These were closed. These were 100% closed. They never leave these open. If there's someone or something here, I want you to prove it to me. I want you to close one of these doors. Come on! Oh, if I'm being honest, I'm glad nothing happened.
Oh!
To this day, it appears as though Sam has no idea what caused this strange power outage and what was making those chilling noises in his basement. Let's just hope that it's nothing to worry about.
Looks like he's got some paranormal activity going on.
A YouTube channel called Creepy Outdoors frequently uploads videos in which the channel owner wanders around to various different places in the outdoors, and oftentimes he captures some truly scary stuff, as you would expect by the channel name. However, one particular video on his channel stands out from the rest. In the video that was published in October of 2022, we watch as the uploader wanders around a forest in the middle of the night, seemingly equipped with nothing but a flashlight. As he makes his way through the forest, it truly seems as though there is nothing inherently scary about this forest, other than the fact that it looks quite spooky late at night. But then, this happens.
Is this what? Oh, I knew it! That's what I...
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi!
What the hell?
I've seen this video before. Although it's creepy, it's also pretty funny, too.
Okay.
Like somebody's playing
That was fucking creepy.
hide and seek with him.
I need to get out of here.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Out of nowhere, a voice coming from somewhere nearby yells, "I see you." Amazingly though, the uploader continues on with his investigation, even despite what just happened. He continues walking for about 10 more minutes, but is unable to find anything of interest, so he decides to stop filming. Would you have continued walking around in the forest if you heard someone yell that at you?
Nope.
Would you even wander into a dark forest late at night in the first place?
No.
Be sure to let me know in
I
the
would
comment
not.
section down below.
I most certainly would not. That was... I remember watching that. That was creepy. That was creepy and funny at the
YouTube
same
channel
time.
named Into the Void went exploring with a friend in 2023 in downtown Colorado Springs, most particularly some tunnels near a river close to Fountain Creek open space. They had embarked on a venture into the underground, equipped with flashlights and a camera, driven by their
Warriors.
shared interest in urbexing. The series of underground passages resembling storm drains stretched for approximately a mile and a half. As they proceeded through the dimly lit tunnels, their casual conversation was abruptly interrupted by a piercing scream, eerily reminiscent of a woman's cry, yet distinctly inhuman, akin to the sound of a mountain lion's call. Suddenly, a pale figure emerged from the darkness, its sickly appearance sending shivers down their spines. The creature looked humanoid, but had unsettling features. He says its face was reminiscent of a horse, albeit with less pronounced features. Stricken with fear, they ran away, which was definitely the best thing they could possibly do in that situation. After sharing this terrifying story on Reddit, Into the Void decided to return to the tunnel, all alone, to film it. When he did, this happened.
Yeah, there was this big mistake. Cardinal Rule 101: nobody goes anywhere alone. You don't go alone. You don't go by yourself anywhere. You always have somebody with you. Big mistake, dude.
I'm really not looking forward to this.
Big mistake, dude.
I don't know what that was. I need to take a breather.
We got footprints here.
What the? No, I'm just out. This shit. I don't know what that is. Oh, fuck.
Nope. Oh, nope, 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 nope. Nope, not me.
What do you guys make of this chilling footage?
I don't
As always,
know.
be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments below.
No telling what's down there.
And that was
You may not
13
wanna
scary
know.
videos. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then subscribe for more scary content. My name is Sir Spooks, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Thanks, Sir Spooks. Definitely check out his site. Definitely check out his channel. He's got a bunch of great stuff, man. Alright, guys, that's it. That's all we're going to do. Alright, we made it. I'm sorry I nodded off a little bit. Thought the coffee would at least help. It's actually kicking in now. It's a little late now, but oh well. Anyway. Alright, guys, that's gonna be it. Like I said, yeah, it's 8 o'clock. My dad and I need to eat something, so as always, when I'm done with the broadcast, I'll put links to the original videos in the description box below. So that's all for tonight, guys. That's all for right now, guys. I might do something later. I don't know. Well, we'll see. Until then, hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. And if you're watching this after the broadcast, hey, thanks for dropping by. Spread the word. I could use the support. If you like what you see, please leave a like and subscribe. If you like what you see on the ones I react to, please leave a like and subscribe to them as well. Alright, guys. I'll talk to you later. Until then, you guys stay safe. Stay awesome.